Hello and welcome. Hope everyone's doing alright. I am doing absolutely fine. Bit of a break from the pergola for a week or two while I just strategise. So thought we'd take a little wander around the garden and we'll just get some highs and lows and plans for certain areas as we go around. So let's get to it. It's all looking nice and vibrant, as I expect a lot of people's gardens are, so that's quite good. So let's start with the low of lows of lows, which is the Schefflera rhododendrofloria. Now you may remember that it was doing absolutely fine in the ground by the Tetrapanax, survived the -8, no worries, sent out a new flush, all happy days. I went on a holiday, came back, and it had been absolutely destroyed by slugs. There was literally nothing left of the new growth, so I kind of just thought I'll get it out and try and get it to get some new growth out. I did that, potted it up, and then I put the pot in the corner behind us, which we'll see, which I didn't realise the gutter was dripping on top of, where the gutter's blocked up there, and I think it's done a fatsia to me and saturated and suffocated the roots. I pulled that out about a week ago, repotted it, which obviously probably isn't helping. It's bent right down now. The old leaves are still on and still green, which is my only slither of hope, but as you can see, one of the stems is absolutely mangled, the other one's pretty much on the way out. So yeah, I'm almost at the giving up stage on that. The trouble is I would put it inside, but I haven't really got like a nice sunny window for it, because the best one faces west, so I may chuck it in there and just keep it out, but it hasn't rained as much since, so I was hoping now that I've put that all in there with nice loose soil, it might sort itself out. The things are still green, so I'm kind of half hoping they're still photosynthesizing, but yeah, I don't know. Any ideas, do let me know. So other than that, the Insetti's doing okay, still in the pot. Haven't really fed it, to be honest with you, so it's not going to go crazy, but yeah, it's doing all right there. It looks quite good. Happy days. So over in Camellia Corner, the main thing is that I've been doing a bit of the trellis in. The main important bit is that I've put the cap bit on the top of the trellis there. I've only come down that far because that's the height that they'll run at over the other end of the garden, or 5 panels to the left where the high planter is, which we'll get to, and I'm just deciding whether I carry it all the way down, to marry up with that lot there, or even do what I've done there and put a sort of octagon in behind the bamboo, so I could put one of them sort of lizard sculptures or a mirror or maybe some dinosaur type thing in there. But it looks a bit rough in that. Oh, sorry, so all the wood, I'll come back a bit. It looks a bit rough because I've been pushing myself in and out of the bush. So it's all been pushed to sides and things like that, so it looks a bit rough, but it's okay. I may just put another load of the top bit, because obviously the point of the trellis being high there was to try and stop the wind. Now that isn't going to stop any wind, so I may put a couple more bits in the top 2 sections just to break it up a little bit more maybe, but yeah, we'll see. The most important thing is that it's got the cap on now, which gives me my final height, so I'm pretty happy. Other than that, the plants in there are doing really well. Cyathia's come back to life. You can see those green leaves just there, fronds, sorry, they come out, so they're nice. Seems to be doing quite well there. The Aphenis is absolutely loving it there. It's got another flush that's about to come out, if you can see that. So yeah, pretty happy with that overall at the moment. No plans to do it. And yeah, the Schefflera was on that corner stone that you can see right in the corner, and the gutter up there is dripping on top of it, which has left it saturated. So yeah, we will see. This thing is going absolutely mental. It's quite a weedy, it's not got great form, this Hypulpis punctata. I think it's from Taiwan. It's a bit weedy. It reminds me of bracken, just the way it grows, especially like this bit here to the right. So I'm pretty glad I didn't put that in the ground, and he's going to stay there. I think it's deciduous, that, so it'll die off, which makes me think it might be related to bracken in some way down the line. But yeah, I'll leave him there for now. He fills a space. Other than that, we're doing all right. The Nephrolopis, again, they're all doing really well. And the Nephropids are loving this weather. You see that one on the corner of Camellia Corner. This one here is doing really well. I mean, these things probably might even get double the length, which would be absolutely perfect, but we'll see how we go. So in this section, the most important thing, like I said, was I've got the cap on the top of the trellis now, which gives me a finished height, not only for the pergola, but what I've done with these two bits of trellis is I've raised them up so they marry up with the top of it, which has actually given me quite a nice bit of space down there in the planter. So in the left hand side, and remember this planter is open to the ground, there's nothing, it's not got the patio underneath it like that lot has. It's actually open to the ground there, and even more so that block that you see there is just like a bridge. It actually, the second block down is like all open so it can all intermingle with each other. So as I've already got a Trachylospernum jasminoides, I might put one of them in that left hand side of it. That can then climb up this section of the trellis, that section of the fence there. If I continue the trellis down, the leaves are very camellia like with respect of how, you know, they're not exactly, but they're closer to that than they are the ferns, say. So that should tie in quite nicely. People sit here, so it's nicely scented, so I think that's a good spot for that. And it will take a bit of the pressure off the giant honeysuckle. And speaking of the giant honeysuckle, you can see the bit that was coming up towards us, I've tucked around the back of that, and it's growing up over there quite nicely. So that's why hopefully I can continue that going horizontally and get it down behind the bench and up into that corner. If not, the Trachylospernum is going to be there. I can run it up the middle. But we'll see how it does. The odd thing that happened actually is, I mean, it's going really well. These leaves here, like this this leaf here is as big as my hand. I won't do, oh, I might be able to get it in, but yeah, you can just sort of see it's as big as my hand. So for a honeysuckle, that's not too bad. You can see the one right at the back I've tucked behind the trellis there. The odd thing that happened is it was going absolutely fine, going up crazy. You can see it running around, and then it got up to this height and it's just literally stopped growing, which is a bit annoying, because had it got up to where that bit of wires running up over it, it would be out of the shadow of the banana for the afternoons, and it would have free reign of the pergola and be in full sun, and then I think it would really go some. So I'm not sure exactly what's happened, but one thing I have noticed is that it started spurting off all the little nodes. So one thing I did want to ask, actually, because it's not strictly hardy, and I've got my over soil heating that I'm going to run to it to keep the roots and the sort of main part of the stem frost free, but I might take a cut in for insurance. So if anybody can just point me in the direction, you know, if all honeysuckles are the same, then I think it's a softwood cutting I need to take. So if anyone knows, if they could just confirm that for me, that would be great. I.e. all honeysuckles are the same and you cut them the same, or if anybody knows what would be a good idea for me just to take a couple of cuttings off that would be beautiful. Other than that, the Lophosauria is doing really well. I don't know if it'll show off quite the colour. It's got such a nice glossy green to it, so he seems to be doing quite well. That's got 3 crowns on it, so I can divide off it if I have to. So yeah, happy with that. Other than that, in here, the main plan, this Atrata, I'm going to take it out. You can just see it looks really rough where it's in full sun. So I need to put something else in there, but I want to get that one out and just let that Areostega parvipinata there, you know, free itself up a little bit and see what that can do. I'm going to take the cannas out this year. They're doing quite well. They're about 6.5 foot. But I'm going to take them out and probably put a pine in there at some point, but I'll do that in the winter and divide it up and do what I need to do with all the rest of it. Other than that, you can see that's the height of where the trellis is going to come to, so not the one that's on the stone, but the one that's kind of to the right behind the canna. That's the level of the one over in Camellia Corner. Speaking of this Areostega, I'm still battling with the, I don't think it's clover, I can't remember what it's called. It's that stuff that if you don't keep control of it goes absolutely mental with the little yellow flowers. So I've been pulling it out. Unfortunately, you can see there's a couple of new fronds unfurling there, but unfortunately when I was trying to get it all right out, I pulled a couple of the new croziers out as well, so a bit harsh, but yeah, we'll see how we do with that one. So other than that, this centre bed, again, I'm just still mulling in my mind what I'm going to do with it. I don't think any of these plants are going to actually live here full time. Maybe the Erythrosaura there in the middle, maybe the Wallachiana on the left, but I'm gonna have to get rid of these bananas at some point because they're obviously not evergreen, and although they look absolutely fantastic and a 10 out of 10 now, that's only for 2 months of the year, and as it's such a critical point of the garden, I need to do something else. So I'm thinking of getting like a 6-foot tree fern, a 4-foot tree fern, and a like 1 or 2 foot tree fern, make a sort of triangle out of them, and hopefully that'll do something like that anyway. And then the same with this banana, but you can see they're doing really well. Some of these leaves are absolutely ginormous. That one that's coming off to the top left there, gotta be 2.5 meters through. Sorry, that's a really bad angle, but yeah. So yeah, that one I'm just leaving it as it is for the moment, and we'll see with my ponderings what happens. So we've got the Kiliensis down there. We can come and have a good look at this for a minute. Quite nice form on it, nice and sort of silvery, likes full sun, so a good little space filler, but just for the moment he's sat there. The sword fern, the Polysticum muntium, or however you say it, it's getting this. I don't know if anyone's got any Boston ferns inside, but if they're unfurling, they get so far, and then when the light hits them at the end, they burn off and they don't go anymore. That's what's happened to this thing because it gets the evening sun. So yeah, probably need to move him, but I definitely want to. I'd like the ladder fern effect of those ones, like the other cordifolias that we saw earlier. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that as we head over to this section. A high that we've got is the Tetrapanic, seems to have fully recovered. These leaves are all pretty big, nice and pert, you know what I mean, if you know, taut, if that's the word I'm looking for. So I'm happy with that. I need to, next time I'm doing the irrigation, I need to adjust it so that that doesn't get any water and it's just the outer ring gets some water. But I may, in the next few days, treat myself to one of my top tier plants I've been looking for, which is going to be the Wollemi pine. Now you can see I've got the flower bed with the triangle there, you know, down by the topsoil bag. You can see the edge of it just heading off. I was going to maybe put it in that back right corner, sort of under that, basically between the two tetrapanicles, the one that's been eaten and the dark green one on the right. I was going to put it kind of there maybe, because then it'll get sun all the way around it. It's not too close against the fence, and it's a real specimen to look at type place, if you know what I mean, and they do look fantastic. So either there, or I was thinking, because the other side where all the topsoil in that bucket is not dead space, but there's nothing planned there, so I was just going to put this bark down and then obviously have the octagon patio where this big lump of rocks is. So I was wondering if I put it in the ground and then put, you know, so it's just as if it's coming out the ground on its own, and then that would bring it out from everything a little bit and just get it a bit more sun around the back of it. So yeah, that's another thing to ponder. But other than that, we've got the Lophosauria down there who's doing okay, and that's about it. Other than that, the only thing I'm going to do here really is maybe just buy the last 4 or 5 bits of wood to finish off this section, and then I can put the light in, connect up the light cable, and then that means that when I go to do the light switches down the other end, it's all ready to go. So I may do that shortly. Other than that, the Blechnum chilense is loving life there. You can just see it's probably tripled in size since I put it in there about a month ago. It's spreading via rhizome. It's not too out of control. It's got a nice form to it. So yeah, really happy with that one. The Lamatia ferruginea, you can see all the new growth on it there, the light green stuff. We'll just leave that one. I don't know whether I should cut that offshoot off that's going up to the left or not, but I'll leave it this year and see what happens with it. Hopefully it'll survive. The climbing hydrangea, the Pilostagia verbanoides, it's only actually grown that leaf there at the back, or the set of leaves at the back. The rest of it is just flowered again, so it's going to look nice flowering, attract the bees. That's what I like. And then I'll chop all the flowers off and hopefully that'll stimulate some growth up the fence. Scheffler Tyaniana is fully bounced back. You can see we've got loads of new growth coming out of it as well, so I'm pretty happy with that. Cyathea is doing okay. You can see that coming towards me. Can you see this perfectly straight frond that's sent up there? So they are clever plants, aren't they, in their own way. The Setiferum looks fantastic. That's a Setiferum Herrenhausen. The one to the right of the Cyathea down there is the Setiferum, just standard one. So I'd be interested to see in a couple of years what that one looks like. Other than that, this Fatsia, yeah, not doing great. It has got just a wisp of grow points on this thing. The back one looks like it's absolutely ready to go with that massive bit now, so I'm wondering whether it's sacrificed one stem unable to let the rear one grow, in which case should I just chop that one down to the ground so it can put all its energy into the back one, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. The only thing of interest here is that I appear to have some bugs of some sort. I did put a thing on Reddit to see what they were, and these are like the eggs of some form of scale bug. You can see the ants are milking it for honeydew, and they're all on the stems, so they're sucking the sap out. So it doesn't seem to have affected the plant too much at the moment, but obviously I don't want it going too crazy, so I need to give this a bit of a trim anyway, which I will do. And then maybe when I've got the bits of wood for behind the tetrapanics, I might take that up 1 or 2 levels more, this bit, and then I can tie the fig tree into it and grow it, like fan train it a bit if I can. Other than that, the other Cyathias are doing okay, Fatsia's doing okay. This Dixonia, you can see it's just sent out another new frond here. There's one at the back that got caught on the old Cyathea frond. You can see there, I haven't chopped off, but we've got a few more bits coming up through. I should feed this more, this thing. I only do it about once every 2 months. I give it a water every now and again, but it's been so wet there seems no need. Probably now my favourite plant in the garden is this Cyathea Cooperii. Now, the Cyathea australis, which is the one in Camellia Corner, that is as hardy apparently as a Dixonia antarctica, but as far as I know, it's actually deciduous, which I did not realise. This Cooperii is not as hardy as the Dixonia. I don't know exactly how less hardy it is, but it's not, but this is also evergreen, so the whole point of my oversoil heating is for the Cyathea, so you'd hope they would do well. But the form on these fronds is absolutely fantastic, just diamond shaped, lovely colour on them. The wind doesn't seem to have too much of an effect on them, which is good for this garden. You can see we've got this one coming up that's about to come out over here. There's 3 down in the trunk ready to come out, and I reckon it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for one of these fronds to unfurl. So yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that one. Other than that, the other thing I was interested in is this thing's finally decided to sort its life out a little bit. This is a Polysticum plumusum congestion, I think, or maybe a Setiferum. It's a bit of a smaller one, and you can see how tightly packed it almost looks like some of those conifers you get in rockeries. So that's all right. Speaking of rockeries, actually, the Ethereum nipponicum crested surf has come well back to life, even though I chucked 2 rocks on it over winter. So yeah, fair play to him. Yeah, and other than that, the rest of it's pretty much as it is. These things I'm having to water these a bit now, but they've all bounced back. This Nephrolopis is doing quite well in there, so that's a good sign. I ran out of wire. You can see I've run it across all this fencing that I did, and I've tidied up this fat cedera. So at the moment, because it was all coming out towards me as I'm standing and I've tied it back into the fence, they all sort of lean back, but I'm hoping that when it adjusts to the light, they'll start pulling themselves off the fence a little bit, and I can start doing that fencing there. So yeah, that's okay, I'm happy with that. Here's the other Tracheospermum jasminoides. I won't get too close just because there's lots of little spiders. I do like spiders. I don't like them crawling on me, but I do like to see them in the garden. Another Atrata there. Doesn't seem to be doing a lot of this jasminoides. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. It doesn't get amazing amount of sun, just the evening sun, so it might be that, or it might be it's just taking its time, or it might not like it there, but we won't find out probably until this time next year. So yeah, we'll do that when we need to. But yeah, other than that, it's all going reasonably well. yeah, as I say, might treat myself to a plant this week if I can get a little bit of time in the afternoon just to run down to Desert to Jungle, see what they've got for me down there. But yeah, we will see how we do. Hope everyone's having a good day, and I will see you on the next one. Ta-ra for now.